Muy buenas tardes, señoras y señores. Estamos aquí con un estimado y querido amigo mío, quien se llama Jeremy Stepanovich. Jeremy es judío. Estamos aquí en Chicago, Illinois. Y pues tengo el privilegio hoy de entrevistar a Jeremy. Personalmente yo soy católico, que nunca he aprendido mucho acerca de esta religión, acerca de esta fe, a pesar de que tengo familias, tengo muchos amigos que son miembros de esta fe. Entonces, formulé una serie de preguntas aquí que los administraré a Jeremy para pues obtener la información deseada, ¿no? Estamos aquí, comenzaremos. Gracias. We're with Jeremy. La entrevista se llevará a cabo en inglés. How you doing today, Jeremy?
Good. How are you, Rick?
I'm doing well, thanks. So, Jeremy, it's going to be pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is just ask you a series of quick questions, and don't feel any pressure. Just I know that you're not as active as, for example, other family members that you have, but just answer those questions to the best of your ability, I'd say. So, first question, Jeremy. I mean, what would you say is really the premise of the Jewish faith?
Sure. So Jewish law centers around halakha, which is a combination of rabbinic laws and the commandments. And the base of the Jewish faith is basically to strictly obey the 613 commandments that came into being during the times of Jesus, thanks to Maimonides.
Got it. Okay. Because I've heard of the 10 Commandments, so I guess that you guys have an extended list. So, am I correct in stating that really the premise of it is to do good unto others and to, lift others up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's the basic idea.
Basic idea. Excellent. So I know in Christianity, obviously, we have things like the Bible, we have priests, and we go to church, we go to Mass. So do you guys have something similar, or how does all that work for you guys?
Sure, yeah. I mean, so we actually worship in synagogues, which is the same idea as a church, and the rabbi is the leader, kind of like the priest in Catholic churches, and we read from the Torah, which is similar to the Bible.
Got it. Okay. So on the subject of church, of Mass, what are some characteristics, I suppose you could say, of the Jewish faith when it comes to worship and prayer? Is there anything that distinguishes you guys?
Yeah, sure. So traditional Jews are expected to pray 3 times daily, usually in the mornings, afternoons, evenings, but more so on holidays and on the Sabbath. But usually prayers are dining Hebrew, although this is most common for Orthodox services in comparison to Reform services. I go to Reform services myself. It's also common during prayer to sway back and forth, although it's not mandatory. And the most important thing, excuse me, is to be presently concentrated and focused in prayer. During the service, you're expected to stand and also bow at certain points. And most importantly, to attend church is the Sabbath, which is Sunday.
Got it. Okay. So, in terms of holidays, I mean, there's some that immediately come to mind. Obviously, Hanukkah is the one that, I know you guys celebrate. I don't know exactly the whole story behind it, but what are the most, I guess, prominent? I'm sure there's several, but what are the most celebrated, holidays for you guys?
Well, there's, we have a lot of different holidays as most religions do, but usually overall Jewish holidays, they begin the night before the actual date. And the most important ones are Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, Passover, which actually commemorates the liberation of Israelite slaves from Egypt. And obviously Hanukkah, which celebrates the miracle of a one-day supply of olive oil lasting 8 days.
Yeah, I can recall my jealousy. I have a cousin who's, an uncle who's Jewish, so I remember my cousin would get 8 days of presents. So I was pretty pissed off about that personally, to be honest with you.
Were you?
But I'm sure you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to death, obviously not the most pleasant topic there, but do you guys believe in heaven and hell, or what are the beliefs in terms of what happens after, the next plane of existence, if you will?
I mean, obviously there's a lot of room for personal opinion. We do believe there is an afterlife, and that death is not actually tragic, but rather it's just a part of God's plan. And so there are specific laws that surround the process of death in mourning. So,
got it. Okay. So shifting gears here, diet. you know, I remember one of my favorite things growing up was kosher hot dogs and kosher pickles. So, I mean, what are some dietary restrictions that you guys abide by, and where do they stem from?
Sure. So, kashrut is actually the part of the Jewish law that deals with what foods can and cannot be eaten. Everything that is eaten must be kosher, and this includes meat. It entails eating the meat that, for example, has to be slaughtered according to Jewish law, and also all the blood has to be drained out of it. We're actually also forbidden from eating meat and dairy at the same time.
So no cheeseburgers for you
No
guys.
cheeseburgers, just
That
hamburgers.
sucks.
It does suck.
That sucks real bad. Well, in any case. So my last question. You know, I know you and I live here in Chicago, and this is essentially a melting pot. I mean, you have people from every single background, race, everything. So, did you growing up? What was your experience as as a Jewish boy? I guess you could say. I'm sorry to use that term, but in Chicagoland, I mean, do you feel it helped you? Do you feel it hindered you, or do you feel it really didn't make much of a difference?
I mean, where I grew up, the Jewish community wasn't very large. But when I went out to school and living in the Chicagoland area, there's a very large Jewish population, and so yeah, it was different at times for me. But I think overall, in terms of my growing up and learning about my faith, I don't think it made too much of a hindrance being in the location that I was at. So.
Got it. All right, Jeremy. Well, I thank you for your time.
Thanks,
here,
Rick.
my friend. Bien, pues ahí tenemos la información que queríamos. Me gustaría concluir con un breve mensaje de la tolerancia. Hoy en el mundo, especialmente estando en un país como Estados Unidos, hay una variedad muy, muy grande, muy significativa de diferentes fondos, de gente de diferentes países, de diferentes creencias, religiones, y es importante, tomando en cuenta toda esta variedad de gente y grupo de personas, que entendemos al otro, que toleramos al otro, que no apliquemos el juicio, el prejuicio, ¿verdad? Es importante esto porque para avanzar la sociedad, para avanzar el mundo y pues la tierra, es crucial, es imperativo trabajar colaborativamente. Para trabajar colaborativamente es necesario entender al otro y saber tomar en cuenta que todos tenemos nuestras creencias, y estas creencias se han formado por una gran variedad de factores, por nuestro fondo, nuestros papás y nuestro entorno, y pues por lo tanto es importante tolerar. Espero que hayan disfrutado la entrevista. Nos veremos para la próxima. Gracias y buen día desde Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City. Gracias.